didn't take any decision, despite of the power, or some countries playing safe. अगर आप उन लोगों में से हैं जो सिर्फ न्यूज़ की हेडलाइंस को देख के या पढ़ के रख देते हैं तो ये वीडियो आप लोग के लिए नहीं है। और अगर आप उन लोगों में से हैं जो बिना बुद्धू बने हर न्यूज़ की रुत को पकड़ने की कोशिश करते हैं तो ये वीडियो ज़रूर देखेगा बिना स्किप किए। वी आर फैमिलियर विद द रिसेंट ट्रेंडिंग न्यूज़ अबाउट इजराइल एंड पैलेस्टाइन। 10 मई को एक जंग शुरू हुई थी जो 11 दिन लड़ने के बाद भी कुछ 3 दिन पहले सीज फायर डिक्लेयर कर दी गई दोनों तरफ से। पर यह वीडियो सिर्फ इसके लिए नहीं है।
We will talk about something even more serious during this war. We will talk about the UN. After 70 years of the United Nations and spending trillions of dollars, what has the UN achieved? What is the UN? What are its main organs? What is veto power? Who has the veto power? Is the UN actually independent? What does an ideal UN look like? You will get the answers to all your questions in this video by QCV.
Most people have heard about the United Nations and already know a lot about it. But let me remind you one line found on their official website. It states that the United Nations works to maintain international peace, give humanitarian assistance to those in need, protect the human rights, and uphold the international law. But it's really funny that only a few nations listen to the UN, and the reason why I said this will be clear to you by the time the video ends.
किसी भी चीज़ का प्रेजेंट समझने के लिए हमें उसके पास्ट को समझना बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है. So let's take a quick glance at how the UN was formed. The UN was established after World War II in 1945 when 50 governments met in San Francisco for a conference. The UN was made with the aim of preventing future wars. It was preceded by another global organization, namely the League of Nations.
The League of Nations was made in 1919 under Treaty of Versailles with the intention to promote international cooperation and achieve peace and security. But the onset of World War II made it clear that the League of Nations was a failure.
Hence came the UN. Let's take a quick look into the working of the United Nations. The United Nations consists of 6 main organs, namely General Assembly, the Security Council, the Economic and Social Council, the Trusteeship Council, and the UN Secretariat.
Some of the organizations working under the UN are United Nations Development Programme, commonly known as UNDP, Food and Agriculture Organization, commonly known as FAO, United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, commonly known as UNFCCC, United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization, commonly known as UNESCO, and a lot more.
The functioning of UN is a very vast topic, so we won't cover that in this video because the video will become too lengthy. But if you want a sequel about the functioning of the UN, then let us know in the comment section.
The literal meaning of the word veto is I forbid. It is a power given to the presidents of the 5 permanent members of the UNSC, that is the United Nations Security Council. So who are these permanent 5? It is China, France, Russia, the United Kingdom and the United States. Using this power, the permanent 5 can refuse to approve a bill or a joint session by the United Nations. The veto power has been used over 287 times and is mostly taken by Russia.
Let me tell you one interesting fact about the use of veto. The veto power is mostly used in the cases of resolution which condemn mass violence or people from a particular nation trying to destroy another nation or a group. Also, the permanent 5 has used the veto powers to keep things in their favor and also to protect their own interests.
This thing has a connection with the most recent war news of Israel and Palestine. Most members of the UN believe that the violence on the Gaza Strip is Israel's fault. But this is not so with the US. And therefore, the US vetoed against any resolution that is aimed to condemning Israel. The US has used its veto power over 40 times to save the interests of Israel.
Resolutions that are taken with support of India or vetoed by China. Can you guess why? Why only China but not any other countries? Tell us your views in the comment section. Also the UNSC. After the meeting of Israel and Palestine and hearing to their representatives, they didn't take any decision, despite of the power. Or some countries playing safe.
After all the things that we just saw and discussed, it leads us to a question. Is the UN actually independent and does it have any actual powers?
Although the United Nations is an independent body which aims to promote international peace, it becomes quite obvious to everyone that it has no real powers. Past instances like the United States leaving the UNHSC or the recent reports on United States blocking United Nations statements condemning Israel's actions has shown that the United Nations often favored more powerful nations like the United States.
And has failed a lot of times to live up to its expectations, and at times it has failed even to protect basic humanitarian rights. So it's high time that we need a United Nations which is inclusive, based on democratic principles and not favor developed countries.
The objective with which the United Nations was started and its ideal are good, but they are only on paper. We need a UN that actually maintains international peace, protects human rights, delivers humanitarian aids, supports sustainable development, and most importantly takes climate action. So what is an ideal UN? What does it look like?
The most important thing that we need now is accountability and transparency in decision making. This decision should be a collective result of majority of the nations and not simply 4 or 5 nations. Independence in the exercise of power will lead to an independent United Nations. This is the United Nations we need, and this is the future United Nations which is equally ideal and independent.
The present UN seems to be helpless, covered with negativity. But even amidst this negativity, there is a hope that the future will be better. और नेगेटिविटी के बीच पॉजिटिविटी का एक लेसन देकर आपको होप इज ए रोप की फिलॉसफी समझाना ही हमारे ग्रुप का मकसद है.
Hey everyone, I hope you all are safe and staying at your homes. जब सारी दुनिया इजराइल और पैलेस्टाइन के जंग के बारे में सोशल मीडिया हो या न्यूज़ पे तबाही मचा रखे थे, तब सोचने वाली बात ये थी कि उसको रोकने का पावर और तरीका किसके पास है. Why aren't we getting the roots and talking about the failure of UN? तभी हमने सोचा कि let's raise this topic and make a video.
हमने कन्वर्सेशन को स्टार्ट कर दिया है. Now it's on you कि अगर आप इस कन्वर्सेशन को कंटिन्यू करना चाहते हैं या नहीं. If you enjoyed the video or found the content to be informative, then like the video and share it with your friends. To support us on YouTube, press the subscribe button. This is our Insta page. You can follow us there to keep yourself updated. To watch more informative videos like this, click here. This is me, Pritam Talukdar, along with my teammates from QCV, signing off.